For years and years, people have reported some pretty strange and weird things that have shaken and turned the entire world upside down.
Everything from aliens, time travel, the paranormal, new inventions that led to amazing breakthroughs in science. Things can get a little weirder on this beautiful planet.
And we like it that way. It makes us all ask the big questions.
And some of these strange and mysterious things you just might see for yourself for the first time.
Hey everyone, I'm Dewey Stewart.
And I'm Rachel Fisher. Today we are looking at the top 10 mysterious things you might see for the first time in your life, part 2. Number 10, lab-grown sirloin. Ever wanted to be a vegetarian or vegan but just can't resist the aroma of salty bacon in the air? If even that made your mouth water, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm the same way. For some people, either for personal, dietary, or situational reasons, going meatless isn't a viable option, despite the evidence pointing to the devastating environmental impact animal farms have, on top of the morality of eating the 3 little piggies. But guess what? Lab-grown meat is going to be a part of our future, and you will get to try it for the first time at some point very soon. Scientists have made remarkable developments in being able to grow functional human organs in the lab. Why not a hamburger? I know you're thinking, lab grown doesn't sound that appetizing, but besides the obvious, cultured meat and animal meat are exactly the same, kind of. Rather than slaughtering and raising cattle in unkind conditions, cultured meat is grown from cell culture with no need from outside involvement. It uses 10 times less the amount of land, water, and less than half of the energy. Does it taste 10 times as good? We might not have to wait long to see. One of the leading companies in this field is called LF Farms and created their first cell-grown beefsteak in December 2018, so who knows, your turkey dinner might be funded by these guys.
Coming in at our number 9 spot, we have the Abydos Hieroglyphics. In the temple of Seti I in Abydos, there are some strange and relatively modern looking hieroglyphics. The markings look to be what many have described as a submarine, helicopter, and a spaceship. But how could this be? These markings are from ancient Egypt. They are thousands of years old. Does this mean that the ancient Egyptians were also seeing UFOs in the sky? Or does this confirm the theory of time travel? Or even crazier, is this the proof that the members of the ancient civilization could see into the future? My god, what is happening? Well, to be honest, archaeologists and researchers don't believe the markings to be anything unusual at all. They believe it just to be a case of pareidolia, which in layman's terms means seeing things that aren't actually there. But I don't know folks, there are some pretty crazy looking markings, and if these are indeed as old as researchers and archaeologists say they are pretty impressive and super similar to our modern day vehicles. Just saying, I don't know, I don't buy this whole pareidolia whatever, I don't buy it.
So number 8, Richard III. If you haven't seen a production of Richard III by William Shakespeare, well then this is a bonus, as that is also something you can see for the first time if you want to. But did you know that after years and years of searching, Richard III has been found, so you can actually visit his grave for the first time. The famous hunchbacked king was found in all places beneath a parking lot, beneath the tarmac. Why was he there? Well, Richard wasn't really given much ceremony when he died. Richard died at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485. His body was then slung over the back of a horse, carried to Leicester, put on display for 3 days so people knew he was dead, and then thrown in a makeshift grave at the Church of Grey Friars, which no longer exists. Once archaeologists exhumed and studied his body, he was placed in an actual grave surrounded by pomp and circumstance, along with some not so dry eyes in the audience, which is kind of surprising. But from his discovery, researchers were able to discover some very shocking things about him. For one, he didn't have a hunch, and 2, he had blonde hair and blue eyes looking nothing like his portraits. His portraits were painted 35 years after his death. But now, 500 years later, we finally know the truth. Fun fact, Benedict Cumberbatch read a poem dedicated to him because, well, he's related to the last Plantagenet king of England, which was Richard III.
Coming in at number 7, we have the Skinwalker Ranch. Located in northeastern Utah in what also has been named UFO Valley, is a ranch that has gone through a couple of different owners thanks to all of the strange and mysterious events that have happened there. In June of 1996, owners Terry and Gwen Sherman told reporters that they had seen many crop circles mysteriously appear, strange paranormal things happening on the ranch, as well as some awfully odd cattle mutilations populations. Whatever was killing their cattle killed them in a bloodless, almost surgical way. Being extremely creeped out, the Shermans sold the ranch. Within 2 months of the story breaking, UFO enthusiast Robert Bigelow bought the property for $200 grand. And since then, many researchers and explorers have reported strange paranormal and UFO sightings in and around the ranch. With no real hard evidence though, mind you, but there were quite a few reports. The Shermans, when they still owned it, also reported a strange wolf-like creature 3 times the size of a normal wolf, and later a team of researchers even reported a large humanoid creature spying on them from a tree. So which one is the real Skinwalker, and what the hell is going on over there? No one really knows, but a lot of people are experiencing some very strange things out there, and if you are gutsy enough to ever visit northern Utah, you might see some pretty strange things yourself.
Number 6, the secret to aging. Some of you this morning might have caught a sight of a new wrinkle or perhaps a gray hair. Aging is a natural byproduct of living. It's something we want to speed up when we're younger and stop altogether when we get a little older. But what if we considered it a disease, not just a natural byproduct of our lives? CRISPR is a gene editing technology that is going to change the world. While the process itself has cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past, CRISPR has found a way to make it cheaper. Not only does it have the potential of changing medicine forever, more on that later, it can help correct genetic defects, treat and cure diseases, even those passed on, but the technology may also be used to improve the ones we already have. What if you could build muscle faster or deteriorate slower or have incredible hearing? All this is possible and more. On top of that, SENS Research Foundation is also in competition with Dr. Aubrey de Grey. De Grey is an English author, biomedical gerontologist, and mathematician who wants to cure aging altogether. One of the main causes of aging are dead cells or senescent cells. Once the cell stops multiplying, they release a whole new stew of chemicals that cause inflammation and the breakdown of surrounding tissue. Based on this understanding and the overall technology being invested to cure aging, I wouldn't be surprised if this technology arrives sooner rather than later.
Coming in at number 5 and at our halfway point is ghosts. That's right, the old classic tale in question. Are ghosts real? Is there an afterlife? Or even a purgatory? Who knows? According to a study done back in 2009 by the Pew Research Center, 18% of Americans have claimed they have seen a ghost. To add on to that, 29% of Americans claim that they have felt in touch or felt the presence of a loved one that has passed on. Tales of ghost sightings and paranormal experiences are as old as time, and I even know a few people myself who have claimed to see a ghost. I even myself have had a few ghostly encounters, but I cannot claim any of them to be fully true. I just know that they were creepy as hell in the moment. Then also, I haven't seen a ghost, but you know, who knows, maybe one day. But I want to hear from all of you down in the comments. Have you ever had a ghostly experience? And if you have any real ghostly problems, who are you gonna call? Well, probably me, because sadly the Ghostbusters aren't real.
Number 4. Humans to Mars. July 20th, 1969, every household and their neighbors were crouched around tiny TVs to watch the biggest step mankind had ever taken. By 2024, we will put boots on the moon once again, but can you guess what's next? Obviously you can, I just said it. Humankind will head to Mars to finally meet the Martians. NASA's InSight mission is currently on Mars in order to measure what life will be like over there. It is also there to test out the use of solar panels as an effective form of power. With our next trip to the moon, NASA will also be testing out revolutionary new life support systems. If all goes well and astronauts are able to survive a year on the moon, then the next big leap will be to Mars. They plan on sending a manned craft by the 2030s to uncover the mysteries of the red planet. It has a past similar to our own and at one point was able to support life, so what happened? There are plenty of new discoveries just around the corner, and I suspect there will be more questions than answers, but how exciting is that? Would you volunteer to go to Mars? Let us know in the comments.
Starting us off in our top 3, at number 3 we have loud unexplained shakes and explosions. Literally just days ago, some loud shakes and explosions were heard in Tennessee. Around 9:50 p.m. on September 6, 2021 in Montgomery County, authorities started receiving calls of a loud explosion and earthquake-like shakes. Luckily no one reported any injuries or property damage though, but there were enough reports that many different agencies and police went out to try and get to the bottom of these strange noises. To everyone's surprise, there was no evidence of any explosion anywhere. In addition to that, the US Geological Survey didn't register any earthquakes in the area at all. So these strange noises have gone on unidentified. Fort Campbell is however nearby, but everyone was off that day due to the long weekend. So for all of you viewers in the US and especially in Tennessee, keep your ears and eyes wide open because we gotta get to the bottom of this. And if you live anywhere near there, this is something you might just see one day.
Number 2, Layla's gene therapy. Remember what I mentioned above? A cure for cancer? Wouldn't that be the most beautiful dream realized? Cancer seems to be a foe that just keeps returning in many cruel ways. But in 2015, doctors seem to have found a light at the end of the tunnel. When 1-year-old Layla was suffering from leukemia and she wasn't responding to chemo, the parents were willing to try anything, including an experimental new treatment called gene editing. Using genetically engineered immune cells from a donor, all of the cancerous cells in her bone marrow were killed off within a month. I'm glad to report that Layla remains cancer-free to this day due to this treatment. So does this mean a new, more effective treatment is on the horizon? Yes, absolutely, but there's still more work to be done. But what is even more exciting is if this treatment is effectively harnessed, it could not only be used to treat cancer, but also HIV and many other immune disorders. Layla was the first miracle in the trials, and doctors are predicting that within the next decade, there will be an explosion in the use of this technology, as mentioned before, with CRISPR and all that stuff. So it's super exciting, but here's another reason to look forward to it.
And finally, coming in at our number 1 spot, we have Big Daddy Bigfoot. People all over the world have seen large ape-like creatures walking like humans since the 1950s. These creatures have gone by many different names, from Yeti, Sasquatch, and Bigfoot, just to name a few. But what is most recently interesting about this phenomena is that the FBI actually has a file on Bigfoot that goes all the way back to 1976, meaning that they professionally and seriously looked into the fluffy man himself. Peter Byrne of the Bigfoot Information Center and Exhibition in Dallas, Oregon, turned in 2 samples of unrecognizable hair, but I will say the FBI did come back with these findings and said that the hairs were just from the deer family. Although they only said deer family, not deer. So there was no hard proof. But what gets really interesting here is that the FBI wouldn't do an analysis without an ample amount of evidence or hard evidence. Meaning, why would the FBI agree to such an investigation unless they had beliefs that it could be something that the general population shouldn't know about? I guess it was only analysis of some hairs, but even still, it spiked some interest. So if you ever have a Bigfoot sighting, get that stuff on tape and maybe we can get our answer to aliens and Bigfoot.
Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Rachel Fisher.
And I've been your host, Dewey Stewart.
If you like this video, show us that you do. Like it, subscribe.
Please.
Comment.
Please.
Answer all your questions.
Please.
Tell your friends to subscribe. It'll be a great time, and
We'll see you all back here next time. Stay sweet.
be kind. Guess what guys, know what else you can see for the first time?
What's that?
The other side of the setup.
Whoa!
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 Inception!
Whoa!